Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? This is Certified Life and Relationship Coach, Coach Court. In today's video, I'm going to answer the question if no contact works with fearful avoidance. And as always, in this quick video, there won't be any editing, just you and me as if we're having a coaching session. And in short, you might click away from this video after this. I would say the answer right away is no contact does work with fearful avoidance. And it's largely because of the circumstances and how both parties handle the situation, handle the breakup. See, fearful avoidance, they tend to have deeper inner conflict. They want closeness and connection, but they also fear it at the same time. And as a result of that, they might withdraw and feel like very overwhelmed or vulnerable when they get into a relationship with you or when things start to get more serious. So if you're not familiar with the fearful avoidant, they're one of the three insecure attachment styles that was introduced by the psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth in their attachment style theory. I want to say it's back in the 60s, some time ago. But it didn't become mainstream until more recently. And it made a lot of sense to people because up until that point, they didn't really understand what was going on with the person that they were in a relationship with. And then they heard about attachment style theory and they're like, wow, it makes so much sense. So here's how no contact might work if you decide to use this strategy with a person who has a fearful avoidant attachment style. But still getting over the flu. Give me a second. It's just been grabbing onto me. So I'm gonna break it down in three or four reasons why, if whatever I can remember. The first one, it gives them time to process their emotions because fearful avoidants often have difficulty with emotional regulation and they may withdraw or push others away when they feel emotionally overwhelmed, right? And no contact gives them that time and that space to process what they're feeling without the pressure of constant interaction. That's that avoidant part of them. They have that anxious part where they just want to be in contact and be close and do everything, but then they have that avoidant side. That's the anxious, right? Then they have that avoidant side that just wants to push people away and really understand and process what they're feeling. But that's the thing. It's not always that either because because they have that avoidance side. Avoidance, they kind of numb out when they go into no contact or when they break up with someone or if they get broken up with. But for a more of a fearful avoidant, they don't numb out. They're really ruminating about what's going on. So we're gonna get to that later. The second thing I see is it prevents the chasing or pursuing behaviors that will come from you when you're in no contact with them. This is that self-discovery, that self-reflection period that I feel is important that you need to do. Because when you engage with a fearful avoidant during that times of withdrawal, they may feel like you're doing too much. They're getting smothered and they may feel cornered, right? They may feel like, this is just, you're not respecting what I need right now, which could worsen their anxiety and cause them to, retreat even further, that anxious part of them. So no contact, it prevents this from getting any worse. It prevents that dynamic and giving both parties, both people in that relationship time to recalibrate and understand where the other person's coming from. I think is very important. And this is what secure people do. Like they're able to pull back and say, all right, this person clearly needs something different. And I'm going to allow for them to just go through what they're feeling without taking it personally. And the third thing that you see during no contact and why I feel like it works is because it allows them to miss you, right? I say this all the time. Fearful avoidance, they may need time away to realize that the value of this connection is important to them. You bring value to their life. And if they feel that they can rely on their relationship, the absence can trigger reflection and kind of a sense of longing, right? It makes them feel that they say, I forgot what the quote was. It's the space between the notes that makes the real music, because if it's just always constant noise, then they start to feel like this is just too much. It's sensory overload. But when you have that little subtle silence in between the notes, that's what makes the music. I also took that from Wayne Dyer. So this is not a guaranteed outcome though, right? And it varies. It depends on person to person, how avoidant they are, the amount of traumas that they feel, or they've experienced. Because what I see happen is um, a lot of fearful avoidants have complex, aka disorganized attachers. They have complex trauma issues where it's not just one thing, like they felt abandoned or they felt unsafe. It's like layers on top of layers. This is part of the reason why people get attached to them, because they want to be able to help them and prove that you can have a safe person in their life. This is why a lot of people stick around and have this off and on dynamic with those fearful avoidants. And so the fourth thing that I see happening when you go into no contact and why it works is it encourages them to confront their own fears. And that's a big one, because even if you're in a relationship long term with them, you can, I've seen people, go 15 years off and on with a fearful avoidant. But it wasn't until they learned to conquer their own fears, go to counseling or therapy, and really understand what's making these things happen, or these triggers become active, is going to therapy and counseling. And that distance, during no contact, it can help them confront those underlying fears, and when they are left in their own thoughts and feelings, this is when I see a lot of the processing happen, and a lot of understanding that I need to do something now because I don't want to lose this person, because they bring a lot of healthiness to my life. And honestly, what I see happen with disorganized attachers is they're used to a lot of chaos, and they don't have healthy discernment on what's normal and what's not normal because of the traumas that they've been through. So if you're thinking about continuing to be in a relationship with a fearful avoidant, I have three things that I want you guys to keep in mind. And if you're in this no contact, you have to understand that timing matters when it comes to no contact with a fearful avoidant in particular. Avoidance, a little bit long, dismissive avoidance, a little bit longer, but for the fearful avoidance that have that anxious attachment in them, I usually see that it takes about 3 to 6 weeks. Because if you go too long, they may see it as, all right, this person has rejected me, I feel abandoned again, and it causes them to shut down completely. So you won't get another opportunity if you wait too long. And like I said earlier, they've had plenty of rumination time between that 3 to 6 weeks. And you may even see them start posting love quotes online or social media, or even unblock you, block you, unblock you. I see that a lot. And this is the time where you kind of want to get back in there. And the second thing that I see is they may not immediately reach out to you during no contact. You have to understand that. They need that 3 to 6 weeks. Sometimes I see it happen within a week, 2 weeks. But it also depends on just how fearful they are. And if they feel like, all right, I really messed this up. I really blew up this relationship. So now it's time for me to take the initiative, because they're not as stubborn, to be honest. They're not as stubborn as someone that's a dismissive avoidant. And they might not reach out immediately. And sometimes it's more hesitation to initiate contact due to fear of being vulnerable, or because they have been really hurt by whoever they're in their relationship with. But you see, if they were the person that was doing the hurting and they were able to reflect on that, they'll break the no contact with you. I mean, I've worked with clients recently, their person reached out within 2 days after breaking up, and they felt like, all right, I really messed this up. So they might need a long time before they feel ready to reengage, but usually it's not that long for a fearful avoidant, because they still have that anxious part of them. And the third thing that I want you guys to remember when you're deciding to do no contact, it's the self-discovery rule. It's not the no contact rule. It's to figure out who you are. It's not to be used as manipulation, because it should be used as a tool to understand who you are and to get back to homeostasis and regulation with your own mental health. And it's not used to be, some type of punishment or manipulation for other people. It should come down to your core values and who you are as a person. It should not come from a place of manipulation. It should be more of like, it's a self-care time, creating healthy boundaries for yourself. And if you are in this relationship dynamic, if you're in no contact, I want to talk about in this next video what will happen if you're in a relationship with them and you break up and they go and get into a rebound relationship. Because if they're in a rebound relationship, this whole dynamic breaks, this whole time frame breaks. And it's important for you to know what you need to do in order to get another opportunity if they are in a rebound. If you know about the rebound, sometimes you don't, most of the time you don't. They may just give up some type of generic reasons as to why they broke up and why they don't feel like this relationship is for them. But if you do know about it, this next video is going to be important, because rebound relationships can really mess up time frames, and I'll tell you why. So if you found this video of any value, please like, comment, and share. You can reach out to me on my other social media accounts. Facebook, it's Coach Court. Instagram is I am Coach Court. TikTok, I.am.coachcourt. And if you want to book a session with me, you can go to my website at www.fruitfulseeds with a Z at the end.com. Thank you guys, and always remember, when you go be loved, you'll never have to find it. Namaste.